Do you still believe that the American dream is about opportunity, safety, and freedom?
They stole my phone while I was on the floor.
I hardly sleep anymore, you know what I mean? I do.
Because for millions of Americans, that dream is cracking. Not from lack of hard work, but from fear. Fear of walking alone at night. Fear of your children playing in the wrong park. Fear that your zip code is turning into a danger zone. We're not just talking about poverty or bad luck. We're talking about places where safety is no longer guaranteed, where danger hides in daylight, and where even locals say, "I don't go there anymore." So, which states are really becoming the most dangerous in America? And more importantly, is your home state on this list? Today, we're going to explore the top 10 states that are becoming more dangerous to live in, not just because of crime, but because of the deeper challenges brewing beneath the surface. Things like strained healthcare, underfunded public services, housing pressure, and rising tension in communities. This isn't about panic. It's about awareness. It's about understanding where the risks really are and why. And maybe you'll even recognize some of these signs in your own state. So, what's really happening across America? Let's take a closer look. When people picture California, they think of palm trees, movie stars, and sunny beaches. But for many locals, that postcard image couldn't be further from reality.
It's taking like everything, my teeth, my stay, everything, you know?
This is a different world, and that's what a lot of people I've been trying to convey to the public.
Yes, the beaches are still there. But ask the families in Oakland who've had their cars broken into 3 times this year. Ask the single mum in Los Angeles who doesn't let her kids walk to school anymore. Or the retiree in San Francisco who avoids going out after sunset. This isn't just about crime. It's about how safe you feel in your own life. California now leads the nation in property crime. In cities like San Bernardino or Oakland, theft and carjackings aren't isolated events. They're part of daily life. And the danger isn't just physical, it's economic. With rent for a 1-bedroom apartment averaging over $2,500 and housing prices soaring, many residents find themselves paying more to live in neighborhoods where they feel less secure. It's an unfair trade. You work hard, pay high taxes, and still feel like you can't protect your family. Then there's homelessness. Over 170,000 people without stable shelter. Tent cities now line highways, shopping centers, and parks. The line between security and crisis has never been thinner. So if you live in California, or you're thinking about moving there, ask yourself, are you paying for a lifestyle or gambling with your safety? Because right now, in the Golden State, the price of sunshine might be higher than you think. If you've ever visited Las Vegas, you've probably seen the glowing strip, the luxury casinos, the never-ending nightlife. But what you may not have seen, or didn't want to see, is what's happening just a few streets away.
You feel like nobody loves you.
Nevada, especially in urban areas like Las Vegas, is becoming one of the most dangerous states in America, not just because of crime, but because of what that crime represents: instability. In recent years, rising crime rates have surged, and property crime is a daily concern. Car thefts, break-ins, and threats to personal safety are no longer just news stories. They're neighborhood problems. And for many residents, it's no longer a question of if, but when it hits close to home. You might be thinking, well, that's Vegas. I don't live near the casinos. But here's the thing. This isn't just about tourists and nightlife. These issues are spreading into the suburbs, the school zones, the grocery store parking lots. And while the city keeps building billion-dollar attractions, thousands of families are quietly dealing with rising rent, stagnant wages, and a sense that things just aren't safe anymore. Nevada also struggles with a growing housing crisis. Home prices and rent have skyrocketed, but incomes haven't kept up. More and more people are being priced out of stability. And when people are desperate, public safety suffers. The result? Many long-time residents are thinking twice. Is this still a place where I can raise my kids? Am I working all week just to live somewhere I don't feel secure? When people think of New Mexico, They imagine desert sunsets, adobe houses, and wide-open skies. It looks peaceful, almost untouched. But behind the natural beauty lies a daily struggle for safety that many residents know all too well. New Mexico consistently ranks among the top states for public safety concerns per capita. From armed robberies to threats to personal safety, many communities, even outside the big cities, are seeing the impact firsthand. And it's not just stats. It's parents walking their kids to school with one eye over their shoulder. It's small business owners installing extra security just to keep their doors open. Maybe you felt it too, that shift in your own neighborhood. Poverty plays a major role here. Over 18% of New Mexico's population lives below the poverty line. In areas where job opportunities are limited and public services are stretched thin, crime becomes more than a news headline. It becomes a symptom.
Hurting each other, way worse than I've ever seen.
Add to that a struggling education system and overburdened law enforcement, and you get a state where too many people feel left on their own. For many families, it's not just about statistics or politics. It's about simple, everyday decisions. Can I afford to stay here? Is my neighborhood getting better or worse? Will my kids have a chance at something more? New Mexico is still beautiful, still proud, but if the current trends continue, more families may find themselves choosing between roots and safety. For many Americans, Pennsylvania is more than just a state. It's a symbol, a place where history was made, where factories once powered the nation, and where tight-knit neighborhoods defined the working-class dream. But today, that dream is quietly unraveling. Pennsylvania is now facing a troubling mix of economic stagnation, population decline, and growing safety concerns. Not just in big cities like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, but in smaller towns that once thrived on coal, steel, and manufacturing. According to recent census data, over 40,000 residents left the state in just a single year, and the reasons hit close to home for many watching right now. Maybe you've noticed your neighborhood feeling a little emptier. Maybe you've watched local businesses shut down, or schools consolidating due to fewer students. This isn't just about numbers. It's about a gradual erosion of stability in places people have called home for generations. In cities like Philadelphia, over 23% of residents live below the poverty line, and the ripple effects are everywhere. With fewer job opportunities and rising living costs, more families are struggling to stay afloat. Affordable housing is becoming harder to find, and shelters in major cities are often at full capacity, unable to keep up with the growing demand. And while Pennsylvania isn't always in the headlines, the sense of uncertainty here is very real. Residents are facing not only economic pressure, but a creeping sense that the systems meant to protect and support them, education, healthcare, infrastructure, are being stretched too thin. Many middle-class families, despite working full-time jobs, are being forced to make uncomfortable choices, delay healthcare, skip essential repairs, or even consider moving out of the state altogether. And if you live in Pennsylvania, or somewhere like it, you might be asking, how long until this starts affecting me? Or has it already? The danger here isn't always loud or visible. It's the slow burn, the kind that creeps in over years until the familiar no longer feels safe or sustainable. Unless bold steps are taken to reinvest in local economies, expand access to affordable housing, and support working families, Pennsylvania's quiet slide could become a steeper fall, one that many simply can't afford to ride out. Louisiana is a place that stirs the soul, the jazz pouring from New Orleans street corners, the scent of Creole cooking in the air, the festivals that dance through every season. This is a state rich in spirit, rhythm, and resilience. But behind the color and charm, Louisiana is facing a quieter, more personal battle. For many families, life here has become increasingly difficult to manage. Over 18% of residents now live below the poverty line. And in cities like New Orleans and Baton Rouge, the cost of living continues to rise, even as wages remain among the lowest in the country. It's a gap that grows wider each year, pulling more working people into financial uncertainty. And maybe that's a feeling you recognize. Maybe you or someone close to you has had to take on a second job, delay a doctor's visit, or put off fixing something at home. Not because of poor choices, but because it's just not adding up anymore. Housing is another growing concern. Affordable options are limited, and that's led to more people living in temporary situations, staying with family, sleeping in vehicles, or moving from place to place. Shelters are often full, and the wait list for assistance can stretch for months. On top of this, Louisiana is no stranger to natural challenges. Hurricanes, floods, and other severe weather events have displaced thousands over the years. For families already on the edge, one storm can mean starting over, again. The job market here has also shifted. While oil and agriculture were once the backbone of the economy, these industries are no longer as dependable or widespread. Many young professionals are leaving in search of new opportunities, and communities are feeling that loss in schools, in businesses, and in spirit. Even those who stay are often left asking, "What's next? Can I build a future here?" That question lingers in neighborhoods across the state, especially in places where boarded-up buildings and fading infrastructure stand in contrast to Louisiana's deep cultural legacy. But this isn't a story of hopelessness. It's a reminder that even in the most vibrant places, challenges can take root, and that behind every statistic is a family, a neighbor, a friend, someone just trying to hold on. Louisiana has always been a state that knows how to rebuild, how to come together when it matters most. But without meaningful support in housing, education, healthcare, and economic opportunity, it becomes harder to weather the storm, no matter how strong the spirit. Missouri sits right in the heart of America, a place where small towns, big cities, and blue-collar roots all come together. For many, it feels like home should: steady, familiar, affordable. But lately, that sense of stability has started to slip. In recent years, Missouri has seen rising rates of poverty, economic strain, and public safety concerns, especially in areas like St. Louis and parts of Kansas City. For everyday people, parents trying to raise kids, seniors on fixed incomes, workers putting in full-time hours, it's becoming harder to stretch each paycheck to the end of the month. If you've felt that pressure, like your money doesn't go as far, or your neighborhood feels different than it did a few years ago, you're not alone. The cost of living has crept up, but wages in many sectors haven't followed. Meanwhile, access to affordable healthcare, quality education, and reliable public services remains uneven across the state. In rural areas, hospitals have closed. In some urban communities, resources are stretched too thin. And while Missouri isn't always front-page news, it ranks consistently high on lists of states struggling with economic hardship and infrastructure decline. Residents have voiced concerns about job stability, housing, and personal safety, especially for those with fewer options to move elsewhere. But this isn't just about numbers or rankings. It's about what it feels like when the place you've always counted on starts to feel less secure. When your community feels a little more stressed, a little less supported. Missouri's strength has always been its people. Hardworking, grounded, proud. But right now, that strength is being tested. The question many are quietly asking is, how much longer can we hold on without help? Arkansas often flies under the radar, not as flashy as California or Florida, not as fast-paced as New York or Texas. But ask anyone who lives here and they'll tell you, the challenges are real and they hit close to home. For families in Arkansas, safety isn't just about statistics. It's about whether their kids can walk to school without worry, whether grandma feels okay sitting on the porch, whether a flat tire on a rural road makes you feel vulnerable instead of just annoyed. Arkansas consistently ranks among the states with the most safety concerns, especially in categories like healthcare access, infrastructure, and emergency preparedness. Some towns have just 1 or 2 officers on call. Rural hospitals are shutting down, and response times in emergencies can stretch longer than most people realize. That's not just inconvenient. For some, it's life-changing. The economic picture adds another layer. Job growth has been slow in many counties. Young people are leaving in search of opportunity, and those who stay often struggle to afford basic security. The rising cost of essentials, coupled with low average wages, means many households are just one surprise bill away from serious trouble. And for those raising kids here, it can feel like you're doing everything you can, working long hours, budgeting carefully, but the safety net just isn't there. Not in the schools, not in healthcare, not in the neighborhood. But here's the thing. Arkansas is full of people who care deeply about their communities, who know every face at the grocery store, who wave when they pass you on the road. That kind of connection is powerful, but it needs support, because connection can't replace preparation, and kindness can't substitute for infrastructure. If you live in Arkansas, you probably know this story already, because you're living it. So the question becomes, how long can good people keep carrying the weight of a system that isn't carrying them back? Alaska may be one of the most stunning places in America, but for many who live there, beauty doesn't equal comfort. Rising costs, long distances, and harsh conditions are making daily life harder than ever. Nearly everything, groceries, fuel, basic supplies, has to be flown or shipped in. That means prices are sky high, especially for those on fixed incomes. In small towns, even getting medical help or filling a prescription can take hours or days. Jobs are limited. Many depend on oil, fishing, or tourism, which are seasonal and unstable. As a result, more young people are leaving, and communities are growing older and emptier. But leaving isn't easy. For many residents, this is home. They stay because of family, culture, or simply because they can't afford to start over somewhere else. If you've ever had to choose between heating your home and buying groceries, you'll understand the struggle. In Alaska, that's not a rare situation. It's becoming the norm. And as more people slip through the cracks, it raises a tough question. How long can one of America's most iconic states keep holding on? Mississippi is rich in history, culture, and heart. But for many families living there, it often feels like the rest of the country has moved on without them. It ranks among the lowest in the US for education, healthcare access, and income, and among the highest for poverty. In some towns, jobs are few, hospitals are far, and hope feels even farther away. It ranks among the lowest in the US for education, healthcare access, and income, and among the highest for poverty. In some towns, jobs are few, hospitals are far, and hope feels even farther away. If you've ever had to fix your own roof because there's no one else to do it, or wait hours for a doctor because there's only one in town, you understand. For many, it's not about getting ahead, it's just about getting by. Mississippi has been overlooked for decades, but the question now is, how much longer can it be ignored before the damage becomes too deep to undo? And at number 1, we end where the need is most urgent, in Alabama, where resilience is real, but the resources are not. Alabama is a place of strong roots, deep traditions, and proud communities. But beneath that strength, many residents are quietly struggling to hold on. Rural hospitals have shut down. Public transit is limited. In some counties, access to clean water and reliable internet is still not guaranteed. For families living paycheck to paycheck, even one unexpected bill can tip everything over. Safety concerns rates in some urban areas have risen, but just as worrying is the slow erosion of stability. Underfunded schools, aging infrastructure, and limited mental health services that leave people with nowhere to turn. In a state where hard work has always been the answer, many now ask, what else can we do? It's not about giving up. It's about needing help to stand strong again. Because even the most resilient communities can't rebuild alone. Alabama's people haven't failed. The system has. And the clock is ticking to set things right. So, we've laid bare the difficult truth about America's most challenging states. It's more than just cold data. It's about the very heart of communities and the peace of mind of countless citizens. When we talk about these places, we're talking about real people facing real struggles to feel safe in their own homes and neighborhoods. Understanding these profound challenges isn't just about pointing fingers. It's about seeing the humanity behind the headlines and asking ourselves, what can truly make a difference? These issues are complex, often rooted deep in society, but they are not insurmountable. Your voice matters in this conversation. What do you believe is the deepest cause of these safety concerns, and what genuine steps can we take to heal and strengthen our communities? Share your thoughts below. Let's discuss this vital issue together. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. The information in this video is compiled from reliable sources and public reports, aimed at analysis and providing a reference perspective. The video is not intended to incite panic, personal criticism, or provide financial or legal advice. Viewers should consider and verify additional information related to their personal circumstances before making any decisions.